This is the first video, my first attempt at doing some stand-up comedy. So if you could watch through for me and then just give me if you've got any ideas, any critiques, please stay constructive, don't be mean. Could you put them in the little box at the bottom, in the comments box? Negative or positive, if you think I'm good, tell me, you're brilliant. Because that'll make me feel better. But if you think, you gabble on too much, this bit isn't funny, you need to do this, and you just have any ideas, I'd really welcome them, because I just think that's how you become good. You listen to the public. So the first thing, my first topic of stand-up is the 3 fundamental rules of childhood. Because I think as children we're taught millions of different things, and parenting differs from person to person, but there are certain rules that all children are taught and all children must obey. And I think the 3 fundamental rules, as I shall be referring to them, are: do not speak to strangers, do not accept sweets from strangers, and do not play with fire. And I think these 3 things are completely acceptable things to teach your children, regardless of nanny state and being against wrapping your children up in cotton wool. I think the only people that are really going to be disagreeing that these are bad things to safeguard your children from are possibly paedophiles and pyromaniacs, neither groups of people whose, safety kind of instructions we're going to be listening to, or we should be listening to, at least. But the thing is, this isn't actually what we teach children, because we say to children, these are 3 rules that you must never break, they're very important for your safety, and the majority of children, intelligent or otherwise, will go, okay, fair enough, and and listen to that. But what we actually teach children is these are 3 fundamental rules that mustn't be broken, ever, except for 1 week of the year when you must break, you're allowed to break all 3. It's completely acceptable to break all 3. And this week begins on this week includes 2 days, and that's the 31st of November, Halloween, and the 5th of November, Bonfire Night. Because on Halloween, not only, the weird thing about Halloween as well, is apart from the fact that there doesn't seem to be any real reason for us celebrating it, other than that the Americans do, because we're not, it's a pagan thing, we don't have any real kind of, there's no religious belief to it, there's nothing, it's just a lot of kids dressing up and going to people's houses and asking for sweets. It's insane, it's a mental idea. But the weird thing is we're not only breaking the first 2 rules of this, we're actually teaching them to break the first 2 rules even, we're actually teaching them to seek out opportunities to break these rules. The first rule, being don't speak to strangers, we're going and knocking on their doors and then not accepting sweets, they're requesting them. They're demanding them. They give them an ultimatum. They say, you give me sweets or we'll egg your house. It's completely nuts. And yet we think this is normal. Well, the majority, there's a lot of people in the country that think this is completely normal. And I appreciate that there are some people that disagree and that think this is a bad thing, which is fine. But then most of these people, and this includes my family upbringing, because we weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween in the terms of going out and knocking on people's doors, is 5 days later, we let them break the 3rd rule. And my parents allowed me to do this too, and the majority of people in Britain do as well. And that's on Bonfire Night. Now, the fact that Bonfire Night is a completely insane idea anyway, I'll get onto later. But the fact is in terms of the thing, a lot of people say, well, and I've brought this up with people, and they go, well, yeah, but they're not lighting the fireworks, and they're not playing with the fire, they're lighting, it's an adult thing, which, okay, I can kind of agree, and I can kind of say, well, don't play with fire, but these people are being very, very safe with it, and they're being sensible. Fair play. But what I'd like to point out to people is sparklers. Sparklers are insane. Yeah, okay, they're not like a match in that they don't burn all the way down, but basically it's a metal stick which is sort of 50% metal, which gets very hot, and 50% firework powder, gunpowder, possibly not gunpowder, but you know what I mean, like some sort of powder that's fiery, and parents, the children hold them with the little magic gloves that are magically on this day flammable, apparently. I don't know why they call them magic gloves, because they don't fit any size, they just stretch like every other material that we use for clothing. Another mental thing, but yeah, we use these magic gloves to to hold the sparklers, and the parents light the sparklers, and then they play with the sparklers, and it's fine. And then they burn out the sparklers and they put them in a bucket of water. Now, okay, fair play. And people say to me with this as well, oh yeah, but that's not fire, that's a sparkler. That's different. It's a little bit of a different situation. Yeah, it's different in that fire is about 800 to 1000 degrees centigrade, and a sparkler burns to about 2000 degrees centigrade. Because a fire is red hot, and a sparkler is white hot. White hot being, if anyone paid attention in physics, a lot hotter, or chemistry, a lot hotter than red hot. Doesn't make any sense to me. But to be honest with you, the whole idea of firework night bonfire night, whatever you call it, doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, basically, it's about a death of a terrorist that happened in 1602, I believe it is. 1602, which would be 407 years ago. So we're celebrating the fact that we're celebrating the death of a terrorist doesn't seem to surprise anyone either. I mean, it's not like, Saddam Hussein, when he was hung, it's not like in America they make effigies of Saddam Hussein and hang him once a year to go, woo, yay, so we killed Saddam Hussein. And that would make more sense, because it was so recent. Whereas this is for a government system that we don't even believe in anymore. It wasn't a democracy. We had King James I, I think it was in Parliament. It was a sort of a case that, there were two sides, and it wasn't like this side is definitely right, clearly right, they're a peaceful nation, a peaceful group, and this group is not a peaceful group. They were both quite angry, the Catholics and the Protestants. It's just this kind of insane thing. And also the fact that we get small children to build effigies of a man that existed and then throw him on the bonfire. At shooting ranges, if you're under 18, you're not allowed to shoot at shapes shaped like a human being, but at the age of 4, you're allowed to build a man and throw him on the fire. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially in a country that says that capital punishment is wrong. What are we trying to teach children? No wonder there are so many messed up people. And on top of this, we throw him on a bonfire. He wasn't killed on a bonfire, he was hung, drawn and quartered. So not only does this break one of the rules of childhood, not only does it teach children that throwing men on the fire is a fun and enjoyable experience, it's also historically inaccurate. This is just mind-bogglingly stupid in my eyes. I don't know what we're thinking. And yet we celebrate it every year without second thought.